Students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country.
Welcome back to the Jamaican Dadz podcast. Garth and Dennis in studio. Oh, where is our Minister of Agriculture? Is Floyd with us yet? Not joined me yet? All right.
No.
I know
Okay.
he's on his way.
All right. Chantilly Brown says, "Good evening. My baby daddy is still loading." Boy, that statement is loaded at that
Right.
As in him load the shot them.
Right.
What is he about to fire?
70% complete.
Loading.
Baby father. Loading.
Doreen James says, "Blessed evening, family. Stay blessed." Ricardo James says, "Good evening, Jamaican Dads." Good evening, Ricardo James.
Is that Taz?
No, I don't think so. Come to think of it, big up yourself, Taz.
Ricardo James.
From Chancellor, from San
right.
Diego.
Yeah, man. A man of eye.
Yes.
Yes, a man of eye.
Yes. I remember those days. I remember Gil Vice President days.
Oh, yes. The good old days. Before all this mess on my face. And gray hairs and whatnot.
The
right.
hair, you mean?
Yeah. Shut up. Raising well-adjusted, well-thinking individuals, well-thinking children. That's what we're going to be getting down into. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. So it's really just an opportunity for us to talk about all the right things parents should do in raising their children to again become well-adjusted. But you might be asking the question, what on earth is a well-adjusted? We don't have to talk about what's a well-thinking person. We probably should, but a well-adjusted person, a well-adjusted human being, is defined as a person who is reasonable and has good judgment. A well-adjusted person will acknowledge others' weaknesses, but not actively search for faults, for example. So let's go again. A well-adjusted person is someone who is reasonable and has good judgment. A well-adjusted person will acknowledge others' weaknesses, but not actively search for faults. So essentially, what we're talking about is how do you ensure that your children fit this description? How do you help your children to get to a point to exercise good judgment and to be reasonable? How does that come about in the life of a parent?
You know, when in I kind of, in thinking about this topic last night, I didn't make any notes, but I was thinking about it from the deep recesses of my first degree.
That's your psych degree.
Yeah. And for me, a well-adjusted individual is a person who has navigated the various stages of psychosocial development reasonably well.
Mm-hmm.
And that has produced a mature person who is balanced, who is able to control their emotional responses. They're mentally balanced. They are fairly well educated, whatever well educated means. They're fairly settled and functional socially,
Right.
because you would want them to be able to, if they're well adjusted, one would assume that they are able to function in their professional environment as an adult, or at whatever level they are at. So for me, well adjusted means many things, because I want a child who is not physically ill. And we know that if you are well adjusted as a child or as a young adult, that it is more likely that you will enjoy physiological health in addition to mental health, so your cognitive development is commensurate with your physical development.
There's equilibrium
Yeah.
in the various facets of your being.
You ever meet a person who is chronologically X age, but psychologically, emotionally, they're like
a toddler?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's not a well-adjusted individual.
Right.
Or individuals who are not well-adjusted they have unrealistic expectations of the world. They have unrealistic expectations of people. They do not handle disappointment well. They do not handle success well.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
so there's so much to being well-adjusted. And then you now ask, how do you parent humans in this direction?
Yeah. I think one of the first things we have to remember, right, is that we are don't see yourself as raising children, right? Because they won't remain children forever. They must evolve and grow into adults.
Yeah.
So see yourself as raising
Mhm.
adults, future adults.
Yes.
So once you start there
Mhm.
in a way and kind of reverse engineer the process, then you should probably kind of get back to that point where you go, okay, so I should be inputting these things
Yes.
to ensure that at the end of this journey, a well-adjusted, and I'm using air quotes now, well-adjusted adult is who comes out. I was on a forum, I led a forum on Father's Day for the Jamaica Observer.
I missed that one because
Yeah.
I was in Montego Bay.
And we had a wide variety of panelists. Among them was Jesse Royal. And he made a quote. He shared some information. I'm not sure if it's his quote, as in like he said those words, or he was quoting someone in the moment. But I just want to share what he said. He said, children don't teach us. No, we don't teach children to be children. Instead, children teach us to be parents. You can't teach a child to be a child, but your children teach you to be a parent. And like that has rested with me. It has stayed with me because it's so true, right? I mean, kids are going to be kids. They're going to go through the various phases of discovery and adventure. And obviously, life is just one big fun learning game for them until obviously them realize, oh, okay, it's a little less fun as you get older and adulthood is a scam. But
I see that. I swear there's not a day that I do not see that in some wording on social media. Yeah, especially on Twitter.
Yeah. Adulthood is really a big old scam, right? But
I can't wait to be an adult and so I can be free.
And now, I know you're here. You're like, man,
I'm not free. I was free as a child,
right? I envy my children when I see them at 9:30, 10 o'clock, still snoring in their beds. I'm like, look at y'all. No, really? But anyhow, what I'm saying though is that we learn about parenthood on the job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can prepare as much as we want. We can read as much as we want. We could probably even have psych degrees and other types of academic qualifications, which oodles of research, all in your cranium. But then it's nothing compared to actually going through the throes of parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Mm-hmm.
you're learning and evolving, and obviously, the more prepared you are, you should be better at it, because you can look out for certain things and you can identify certain things earlier
Mm-hmm.
than, say, somebody who just had no clue, right? But you're still learning.
Right.
And even the parents of adults will tell you that, wow, you know, they still have to do a certain amount of parenting to their adult children.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously takes a different form,
Definitely.
but it's something that you learn. But
Mhm.
children will just always be children, and you have to, as a parent, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as a parent, we covered it on the show already, that your parenting style, if you are self-aware enough, and you can recognize your traits and your flaws and your faults and your, obviously, those good things about you, your good characteristics, right? You can really take a good look and go, well, you know, my mother was responsible for ensuring this in my life. My dad poured into my life in this particular way, which is why I display certain things. And then you will take those good things from your parents and apply them to your parenting style. And then those things that were unsavory, let's just broadly use that word, right? Those things that you never liked that your parents did, you go, all right, was there a benefit to any of this? Okay, how can I get the same benefit in my children without going the same route that my parents did? So how do you get, for example, obedience, which is driven by a clear understanding and appreciation for why things should be done a particular way, rather than obedience, which is driven by fear? So, you know, those kids are, well, for me, for example, there are some things I would not have thought of doing as a child, because my mother would probably slap the black off my skin.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just straight up fear. But don't want Miss Shirley, right? Turn me in a punching bag.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna do that something here, right? But I get my kids to be obedient without me, like, you know, practicing my MMA moves on them just to get some compliance. I'm getting the compliance.
You're nothing for cry for.
All right. And
All
then
right.
put on something on top of it,
All
right?
right.
So that's the big task. How do we get to deliver to the world a well-thinking, well-adjusted, functional adult?
Well, many of my thoughts on this are influenced by my study of stage theories of development. And for me, the one that impacted me the most, if you know about stage theories and you hear the way I talk, I tend to lean on Erik Erikson, stages of psychosocial development. Karen Carpenter drilled that into us, and there are different stages. It's believed, it's based on the idea that there are different stages of development, and each stage there is a conflict that the human being must learn to overcome. So there are different stages where we, I think, as parents, as fathers in particular, need to do our best to facilitate the navigation of this internal development. But, like, for instance, at the earliest stage of development, the human being needs to develop a sense of trust.
Right.
Yeah. So the first stage is trust versus mistrust. And that first stage of trust is so critical. And trust requires consistency. Yeah. And so if you're an inconsistent parent, you are not going to develop a well-adjusted person who does not have trust issues.
Right.
And very often people have trust issues because of
Their
inconsistency of their parents. So there's an inconsistent supply. I mean, I as a parent, I try to be consistent and dependable.
Right.
Because these are things that I'm trying, not just for me being there, but because I know the impact that it has on the development of this human being.
Consistently good, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Because you can be consistently bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break and return with more on the Jamaican Dadz podcast. Back to the Jamaican Dadz podcast. Garth and Dennis with you tonight as we discuss raising well-adjusted children. How do you get there as a parent? We started to go through a few things. The first among them is building trust.
Yeah, building trust, I think, is so important.
And that comes from consistency.
Consistency. You know, I mean, we had a conversation where we were talking about the first 1,000 days.
Right.
With Dr. Carpenter. And one of the things that she said was that trust building is so important. You know, that whole thing that if the baby, if you say I'm coming back and you come back, you build trust. If you are consistently there for the child develops trust that the child knows if I can't see daddy, don't worry, daddy still exists. Because, you know, there's that stage that before a certain stage, they call it out of sight, out of mind, meaning that if you take away the bottle or take away the pen from the child,
it doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And then after, when they get to a certain stage, you know they're out of sight, out of mind when you hide something from them and they go looking for it.
No, which is why peekaboo works like that sometimes too.
Right.
Like you use your hands to hide your face and then you go peekaboo. They're like, oh my god, there you are again. And then
right.
Yeah.
Which is also why some of the times they cry, because in those early stages they cry because mommy is gone, which means mommy doesn't exist anymore.
Where's my caregiver?
Right. And they learn that if I cry, mommy or daddy or mommy and daddy will come back.
Mm-hmm.
And even that is a form of trust building. But there are other things that I think we have to do. For instance, we need to build confidence and autonomy.
Right.
That you cannot do everything for the child. You must let the child at different stages do and fail even.
Right.
And if you protect the child from failure, you're not developing a well-adjusted kid. You understand? And they're not going to be a well-adjusted adult. They might end up being a spoiled brat at work. They're that person in the office that everybody hates because they have unrealistic expectations of the world because they were excessively sheltered. And yes, you want to protect, you want to provide a safe nest for your children, but you have to let them do. I mean, Lord, I think I went overboard. Well, no, because there are people who do the things differently. But like I let Jackson do and figure out and play the puzzles and stuff like that. But he's a kid now who even don't want you help him. Like once as he thinks he's figured it out,
he's completely
leave me alone. Let me do it.
I got this, Dad.
Yeah, and if you do it for him, he might go fling down the tablet and throw down himself, and you're like, oh god,
right?
Yeah.
No, but and that's an important part of it. Like
autonomy, because you're because that's a thing, you know,
and encouraging effort because what you want to is that you want your child to actually can do things, to actually try things and figure it out. I like at home with Nick. Nick is obviously the youngest person in the house, right? He's 8, his sister is 12, his parents are in their 40s, right? So there's still a lot that he's catching a hold of or grasping at the moment, right? As an 8-year-old, he's still in like self-discovery, and not just self-discovery, just general discovery, the learning process going on.
Right.
So sometimes there are simple things to solve in the house. He's short, right? Our cupboards are tall. So, all right, Nick, you want some cereal, or you want whatever it is that you want in a tall cupboard. How you gonna fix that? Like, you get a step ladder, step on it. And I see him climbing and doing things. I may say, all right, I'm going to drop one day. But I mean, he's 8, so he know how to balance himself too. You know what I mean? If him drop, all right, so it go. Right? He used to have this habit.
And you don't feel the need to protect him from falling? No, let me get it.
Not anymore.
Okay.
Like him, what are we doing?
Come down, let me get it. Come down.
I said, no, allow the youth.
Yeah.
Make him do what he might do. Make him figure it out. You understand? We got a game, 2 games for him. One called Gravity Maze, right? Which is a series of puzzles from beginner to expert, right?
Gravity Maze.
Yeah.
Is it an app?
No, it's not an app. It's an actual board game type thing, right? And it has blocks. Yeah. It's an actual physical thing you can touch, Dennis, believe it or not.
I'm sorry, that just sounded so weird.
I know.
Wow.
But yeah, so you get a marble.
You get this game,
right? This actual game that's not on a screen.
This feels like the 80s.
Right? But it brought us together in a very good way.
Yeah.
Because it has a series of blocks, almost like Legos, but they're larger, right?
Mhm.
And you get some cards, and the cards will tell you how to. It will give you some clues to say, well, okay, you need these 4 blocks or these 5 blocks. You are now to set them up in such a way that when you drop marble in the top one, it works its way through a maze to end up in a receptacle, right? It's almost like Tetris,
Get you.
right? But it's like 3D Tetris with a marble involved that actually goes through the mazes in the blocks. And why I bring it up is it's got him really thinking, right? I got him some Lego sets, right? Different types of Legos. And you know, for the Lego box, them always have different challenges and things where you can build and whatever. And you go online and then find some other things you make out of it and whatnot. And me allow Nick for just do that by himself. He's like, Daddy, you can't help me. I'm like, no. Figure it out. Yeah, figure it out, and I'll stay with him.
You're building autonomy.
Yeah.
And
I want him to work things out for himself.
Yes.
I mean, I help him obviously when I realize, boy, all right, it really hit a wall now, a brick wall, but it's time for Daddy to step in. We play chess. Not as often as we should, but he knows how to play chess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I want him to think through problems and not just the immediate problem in front
When
of him.
did they start picking out
steps
their own
down.
clothes?
Nick's been doing that. We started with them picking their own clothes. So I'm like, man, like 3.
Really?
Early, yeah.
Yeah.
We just with basic questions, like we'd give them options.
What do you want to wear?
Yeah, so we put out like 3 or 4 shirts, 3 or 4 pants, different color shoes, whatnot. We're like, what you want to wear? Until they got a little older, and then we never had to put those to them to say, okay, these are your options. You go, you know what you have, so pick what you want to wear. Express yourself. And
that's important. Again, that's the second stage of development, which is autonomy versus shame and doubt.
Yeah.
And so those are the extremes: autonomy versus shame and doubt. As in, can I do things for myself, or am I literally reliant on the help of others? And the basic virtue that you are developing in the human being at that stage is will.
Yes.
You know, and there's an important event. It's I think it's coming up for me. Potty training.
Yes.
Training.
Yo,
you know,
I don't know how you're going to manage in a damn COVID time here, because we're telling the honest truth, Dennis.
Like, you said something to me, and I've been like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yo,
we'll send him to school and he'll come back potty trained. That's what I've been saying in the house.
Yeah, because that's necessary. Like, I'm telling you, like, potty training, Nick, was frustrating for me. Like, because let me tell you what happened. Girls sit down to pee. There is one place it's going to go. You understand me? Boys do not. I mean, by the way, when the potty training them at school, boys, they start them sitting down.
Yeah. That's not wrong with that.
Oh no. Well, I never remember being potty trained.
Okay.
Yeah, so like when I go Nick kindergarten and thing, and when him come home and say I want to pee, and I see him sitting down, I'm like,
what are you doing?
Brother, what are you deal with? You don't know what done this up. Then his mom was like, oh, no. It's okay. Yeah. This is how it goes. I'm like, oh. I never read this. So, but yeah, man, it's going to be life-changing. I tell you that much. It will bring you together in so many ways.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm not nervous about it. I'm anxious. I'm excited about it.
Right. Encouraging effort in your children is super important. Your child may not be perfect. And no matter how great they are at things, they're never going to be 100% flawless, right? So even more importantly, you shouldn't let them feel like you expect them to be perfect. And that's another thing too, right? You have to let them know that they should strive for perfection, but it's not that you expect them to be perfect every time.
Oh, Lord, that Caribbean parent thing. Daddy, I got 90. Why do I get 100?
Right? I get 99. So one to the other one.
Yeah.
That's
the best you could have come up and said. Like, I always wonder, like, what goes through the Caribbean parents' head? Yeah. Why they thought that was the best thing to say?
I don't know. But it's something you probably want to avoid in your children.
Oh, no. I'm not doing that. Doing that.
Right? Now, on that,
so initiative is important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't need to express displeasure every time a child makes a mistake either. Yeah, because they may internalize it, and it makes them feel every time they don't measure up, feel less every time they don't measure up.
Mm,
And I really want them.
mm.
I wouldn't want to say inferiority complex still, but I'm pretty sure that's the beginning stages of it,
Yeah.
because you make them feel smaller than every
And
time.
smaller than they needed to be.
Right.
And you make them. I want my child to have a healthy relationship with failure. Like, failure is not a bad thing. It's okay. All right, let's try it again.
Yeah.
What did you learn from that failure?
Exactly.
You know, so I don't want a fear of failure, because I've been okay. I mean, nobody wants to fail. I don't want to fail, but I'm not petrified of failing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I've come on. I mean, I remember in the early days of reading news, I've bombed. Like, I've bombed, and I remember one time.
I get a call up already.
Hmm?
Like Clifton called me a couple of times.
No, man. And the thing is, the thing that you learn from bombing on radio,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you see, it's different, because if you work in the accounts department and you make a mistake, nobody's gonna see.
Depends on the size of the mistake, but go on.
Yeah, no, I mean, you make a mistake, there are other people in the accounts department. Yeah,
Right.
if you're the tea lady and you make a mistake, and God, this tea is bad,
Right.
right? And so people are easy it's easy when you have a job that when you make a mistake nobody sees or hears. But like when you're reading primetime news and you make a mistake and everybody sees in real time, it's scary. And when you know,
and the engineer can't dump it.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you see, when you're making a mistake on air, the first mistake, it's coming like you tumble down a hill.
That's true.
It's a psychological hill. You buck your toe one time, and I'm sure Books has seen it a million times.
The first time,
the first mistake, the first word where you make a mistake and it gets in your head, and you get in your head.
throw off entire script.
You just have to tumble down, and then you ruin this story.
Right.
You take a breath, and you ruin the next story, and you say, "How far is the break? Oh my gosh, the break is 7 minutes away.
Right.
The break now come." And you just fail, but fail forward.
You're hoping for a voice clip to
Yeah.
save you.
To save you.
Just 30 seconds of reprieve.
When we go to the break, I'm going to tell you a story about Cliff. Oh God, I'm going to tell you a Cliff story during the break.
Yeah, which is right upon us now anyway. So let's take that break and return with more of the Jamaican Dadz podcast. Welcome back to the Jamaican Dadz. Listeners, I sincerely apologize for laughing on returning us to the show. Welcome back to the Jamaican Dadz podcast. Garth and Dennis in studio with you. That was a life-changing moment.
Yes.
That Dennis just described. He's a bigger and a better man for it.
Yes.
For sure.
Gee, thanks, Cliff. Which leaves us a perfect segue into strong relationships.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to add on that matter of encouraging effort in your children and how you respond when they fail or when they make a mistake. Every time they fail to achieve perfection, they're going to feel like you don't love them or that they have failed you, and that can cause more trouble in their future when they don't know how to fail. So
yeah,
just bear that in mind.
And there's a stage again in Erickson's theory. It's called industry versus inferiority.
Yeah.
So you're teaching them industry, and one of the major questions of that stage of their development is, how can I be good?
Yeah.
Am I good? So like I literally say, Jackson, you're so good.
Yeah.
Wow, you did this. You're so good. I remember there's this researcher, there's this theorist. Is he dead? I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know. Carl Rogers, the name. And Carl Rogers had this theory called that he spoke about unconditional positive regard. Yeah, he's very dead. He died in 1987.
Oh, well, it's been a while.
Yeah. But
he died when you were learning about it. He was dead, sorry, when you were learning about it.
So the thing with Carl Rogers, like, I don't believe in unconditional positive regard, but I believe in a great deal of positive regard. So unconditional positive regard would suggest that you show complete support and acceptance regardless of what the person does.
Yeah.
So to his clients, he would show unconditional positive regard regardless of what the client told him. I'm like, nah, I'm not into that.
No, the customer always right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't say that on here.
No.
The customer's always right.
Yeah, of course. But I think showing positive regard and saying you're a good child, you're a good person is important to raising a well-adjusted
I remember the
being.
story you told about the student of yours, I think it was at Queens, who you told that she was smart. And at that point, we never had the time for me to share what happens at my home, but I make sure I tell the youth them all the while so them smart.
Yeah.
Even when them do foolishness. Because
you're telling them.
Yeah, me say,
you're correcting them from the basis of you being smart.
Yeah, me say, una smart pitney.
Yeah.
Una grades them speak for themselves.
Yes.
People on the road can see una and talk to una, they can hold a conversation, they can hold a proper conversation.
Yes.
They can reason.
Yes.
So we don't do something like this.
Yes.
Like really.
Yes.
We don't live up to what we're really capable of.
Yes.
I said to Noel, Nick hear me say to Noel, but he can't fully grasp it just yet. But I said to Noel, think it all the way through. So when you're doing something, not just go, okay, bam now. No. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen after that? What's going to happen? Think about it all the way through. So, I mean, there is a bit of a falling domino effect. When, for example, you need to read somewhere by a particular time. If you know, say, take you 2 hours to put yourself all together, then get up and start from 2 hours before. Don't wake up half hour before and expect that you can do in a half hour what 2 hours
to do.
normally do. Yeah. Just for example. It's probably a poor example because sometimes I'm a bit of a late bug, but right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you see, and I hide it well from some people.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, when are you? I don't think you've ever been late for anything that we've had to do, Garth.
Because I treat this podcast with the utmost respect.
But like when we have
I value
meetings,
your time.
When we have meetings and like you're the first one there all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the point I'm making is though, you have to remind your kids and encourage them to keep doing the right things because they are capable of great things.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. One of the things I think is also important, and this is something that that Marlon really believes in, even more so than I, is let them play.
Yes.
There is a great deal of learning that happens during playtime. And there's a great deal of functional development that happens during playtime. Let the picnic them play.
Yeah, man.
The mother learn lessons about fairness. Like you ever listen to picnic and that's not fair. And,
Right.
and like when I hear these things, I feel good because you're thinking about, you're developing a sense of what is justice.
And-
Like, you know,
And actually, morality.
exactly. And it's important for moral development. Let them play games,
Mhm.
especially games that have rules.
Right.
And games that have implications. You failed to do this and now you're out.
Right. Yeah.
You
Here's
know
the consequence
there-
of.
yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the rules, these are the boundaries. You missed and you hit the wicket and it is out. You're out. You have to go and sit down and don't cheat for them.
Right.
So that you're shielding them from the implications
And
of
setting
their
a wrong example, because
Exactly.
essentially what you're doing is lets them think that, oh, so in our real life now, when we grow up, we can do that something, man. We can
Mhm.
cut the rules, we can try shift things because, well, it's normal.
or you have parents who will bail you out, so you do stupid things and then you escape the consequences of it.
Right.
So you never really know the consequences of your actions. It's like those, people say like you commit a crime and then you have influential parents to cover up for you.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, them kind of way.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a perfect segue again into teaching them coping skills, because
Yes.
that's the other part of it too.
Mhm.
Because once they're playing, once they are interacting with others, once they're building friendships, which is also another important thing for you to make your children do.
Yes.
Build friendships,
Yes.
right? They need to know how to deal with other people their own age, right? And not just interacting with adults, but you've got to teach them coping skills. So if them get upset or disappointed by some things for the same thing, them out in our game, or them
Mhm.
never get them ice cream drop off of the cone, or you know what I mean? Whatever it is, let them know that those feelings of being upset or of anger, of depression, of sadness, of disappointment is normal. It's
Mhm.
part and parcel of life. It's not all going to be peaches and cream and roses. Even roses have thorns, eh? So,
Yeah.
so sometime you're gonna get joke. Sometimes when them used to say teeth and tongue must meet, that's how the thing go, right? Teeth and tongue must meet.
Mhm.
So at some point in time, yeah, you're gonna feel them way here. It's okay, right? How do you deal with that? They will feel these things and there's nothing wrong with it, but show them
Absolutely.
what type of coping skills they need to have in order to overcome those feelings. Let them work through different things. And you can help them do these different things that will make them feel better, that will make them move on, and introduce a number of different options, but make them make a decision about how they implement these things in their lives. So teach them how to deal with it. If you want to cry. Me tell Nick that as a youth.
Yeah.
Zine, if you feel for ball, brother, so you feel right now, you want to cry? Yeah, I'm feeling good. Okay, cry. See,
And it's okay.
Get it out of your system. How you feel? You're angry? Yes. Okay. Cool. Like he will go to his mom when I'm angry at me for doing something or saying something.
Mhm.
Right? Him feel some punishment too harsh.
Mhm.
So me take my privileges, right? So I say, no TV for 3 days.
For 3 days.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna write.
Burial and resurrection, you know?
Yeah.
No TV for 3 days.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm gonna find something else to do now. No screen time, no tablet. Yeah. But ban them thing there based on the type of infraction.
Mhm.
You understand? And done it, we said to me late in the night. You did have a
But what I like is that you said late in the night.
Right. Yeah, man, she not take me on. I don't take her around when she punish them in front of them. You understand me? If I feel she's being too harsh or too lenient, but hold it until me and she can privately, me can say something to her privately. And she do the same thing. She don't take me on in front of them for say, boy, no, allow the youth them. I mean, with certain things. You know what I mean? So, like, and that is important.
Even if like you feel like I need to intervene here.
I mean, there are exceptions. There are exceptions, but it's very, very rare because the thing is, because we understand each other. She know what me stand for. I know what she stands for. You know, so like we kind of catch on, not kind of, we've caught on to each other's parenting styles,
Mhm.
and we also have a bit of a pre-game plan.
Yeah. Good
So-
cop, bad cop.
No, not really, not at
Okay.
all. Cop.
Yeah.
But
I like it.
yeah,
like
but I
it.
mean, I'm the stronger disciplinarian, and I think that's because of my upbringing. And she's not a disciplinarian,
But she's more liberal.
yeah, and she's a little easier on them
Mm.
than I am. Certain things I am not going to stand for,
Mm.
and they know that, right? With mommy, them can probably try massage them way
Mm.
into something, but she usually hold her own still.
Mhm.
She make them feel that them a reach somewhere, but them not gonna really reach nowhere.
Ah.
You know what I mean?
Like we both, I mean, again, it is a 2-year-old, but like even last night, Suzanne said, bedtime, put down the tablet, give daddy the tablet, and him start hollering, and so him a ball, and him
Right.
come to me for support. I'm
Thank you.
So I'm like, sir, you will get no support from me.
Right? You just take the tablet.
I'm just take the tablet. I'm like,
Thank you.
You know,
You trying to do, son? Do you know who your mama is?
you gotta go to that bed.
All right, so let's recap a few things that you can do as parents to ensure that you raise well-adjusted, well-thinking children. Build trust.
Yes.
Be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Let them play.
Yes.
Encourage effort.
Yes.
Teach them how to cope.
Yes.
We're left out nothing.
Will be positive regard,
Yes.
positive reinforcement.
Right.
Yeah. Let me see. Even a couple of people online were saying that. Somebody said that online.
Yeah.
Positive reinforcement.
Build healthy relationships with failure.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Always.
Don't be afraid to fail. Encourage industry. Encourage
Effort.
Encourage autonomy.
Aye.
Yeah.
So I think those are the things. We thank you so much as
And
always.
there's always more. Shoot us a message on social media. We'll be glad to entertain the conversation.
Use the hashtag Jamaican Dadz. That's with a Z, and we'll be more than likely. We will respond to you wherever, on whichever platform. If you use the hashtag Jamaican Dadz, we're certainly going to reply to you, respond to you. So thank you so much, Tashai Grant. Book, so your name again? Andrew Glenn Anderson?
Andrew Glenn Anderson.
Jesus.
Mr. Anderson.
My name Moses. Thank you so much on the other side of the glass for helping us to deliver this wonderful show to so many of our listeners and viewers all across the globe. Dennis.
It was a good one.
It was another good one. Big up yourself, brother.
No.
Until next time, folks, please take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.